Welcome back, guys. Welcome to season 2, episode 2 of Over the Rim. Obviously, once we switched up again. No Jason, but we have Jerry this time.
Yo.
Obviously, myself, Femi, and Rael.
You.
We're just gonna start off just with like our quick picks for our performances of the week. So that's just who we personally felt, had the best performance or our favorite performance of the week. So we'll start off with Jeremiah.
Well, I looked at the NBA app again and I just refreshed my memory in it. So there was 2, but it was between Jalen Brunson against the Spurs when he dropped 32 against them and they won by 1 point. Because down the stretch, he just kept hitting clutch bucket after clutch bucket. And someone he's not even 6'4", he's probably like 5'9", 5'11". So someone that's able to do that and control the game and score at a high clip, probably with breakout game with Luka on the court as well. He deserves some accolades, but my actual performance of the week would be SGA because with a young founded team, man, I'm calling this team basically a college team going up against vets. And saying somebody I won't name for the meantime. But yeah, his ability to just score is just stupid. It's crazy. Like he's so talented, man. So I'm gonna go with SGA, and because he done it again. Like he's just hitting clutch buckets in Westbrook's face every single moment. Like he's hitting clutch buckets 24/7 against that certain defender. So for him, yeah, I'm gonna give it to SGA. So what's your man's performance of the week?
Go on. Yeah.
Oh, me. We see big Chicago man. I say DeMar DeRozan back-to-back 37. Obviously 1 win, 1 L, but it's against the Sixers, bro, and they were literally, I'd say probably top 2, maybe top 3 teams in the East, innit? So you've gone up against a powerhouse, taken a loss, but yeah, bro, he's just been he's synced very well, and obviously the first 2 games or so, like he wasn't really adjusted, which is to be expected, but as soon as they kind of got into the flow of things, same reason that I'm back supporting them publicly again. Like they've just synced up extremely well as a team in it, and they're very well balanced. And he's doing what we kind of know he's always been able to do. I mean, it hasn't worked out in the West when he was at the Spurs, but back in the East, back to kind of comfort, I guess, he's been able to just pretty much score at will and dominate the mid range. And he's making a couple threes as well, so put him up there, man.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, mine, I mean, I'm going to not obviously, but I'm going to go with Paul George. There's probably a few options I can pick from. I mean, he's been on fire to start the season. You know what I'm saying? So I could pick from, he's had multiple 32-point games. I think he's had a couple 40-point games. So, but yeah, for this week, I'm going to pick the one against Minnesota because I think that came in a win. And yeah, it was a good game, man. It was a good game. Like, he started off a bit slow because Ant was actually playing pretty good defense on him, to be honest. But Paul George is Paul George, and yeah, he's gonna get his.
Stride is done.
Yeah, man. It seems like feels like he's grown up, man. Not grown up, but it feels like he's past that barrier.
I think it's because he's putting the team on his back.
Yeah, I feel like that what he had to do last season kind of got rid of all the shakiness and all the nerves. So we'll see, man. If Kawhi comes back, if he comes back, and he's even 70%, 80% of what he was, like they could have a really deep playoff run, to be honest.
100%. I think the funniest thing about PG is that, like, as much as we all got onto him and everyone here kind of rightfully kind of criticized him for the way he was performing at the Clippers, he's always been this player here. Like, even when he was at OKC, the first season he struggled, but the second season he flourished and was MVP candidate because even though obviously West was the first option, they let PG be like the main player, the main scorer. And I can't lie, PG is, I don't know if he's a number 1 option on the championship team, but like he kind of needs to be the number 1 to actually play up to his full potential and to play to his full capacity.
Yeah, because even when Kawhi Leonard was there last season, there was everybody just saying like Paul George should be your number 1 option.
Yeah, he should be.
Kawhi's actually better being the second option because there's less attention on him. With Paul George handling the ball and being the number 1 option, it just makes the game easier for himself and everybody else on the court.
Yeah, man, and he's more like, sounds weird, but he's got like flow to his game. So him having the ball and kind of being the mainstay of your offense, just I feel like it helps create for everyone and bring the team together in a better fashion.
Yeah, it helps
let's move on from Paul George and our performances and stuff. And now, man, let's talk about. We'll start off with just talking about some of the players that are just not looking at themselves at all. I mean, there's a few, you know what I'm saying, but there's one that, you know, really comes to mind because he's had like one good game, and that's, you know, Dame Lillard. And to me, he's only had one good game, innit? Stats wise, I guess you could say. But I mean, I don't know, man. What do you guys think the problem is? Do you think it's fatigue? Do you think he's down in tools? Do you think he don't want to play for Portland? Do you think it's the ball? Because that's something that a lot of players have, not a lot, but a few players have kind of been speaking about. They've changed the NBA ball from the actual ball. They've changed the ball.
Wilson, so it's a weird adjustment.
Yeah, right, so like apparently there's less grip on it. Apparently, like if your hands are sweaty, it slips easier. But I mean, there are some players who are having career years so far in shooting. So it's like, can that really be an excuse? Huh?
Dry hand niggas.
Yeah, man, what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying, man? Maybe the man got eczema or something. But, maybe, innit? But yeah, man, like, so what do you man think is Dame's issue? Do you think, wow, what do you man think is Dame's issue? That's still working, you know. Where do you man think is something that he can sort out?
Mic check. Is that thing moving? Oh yeah, it's calm.
Yeah, it's cool. Me and Real was talking about earlier, or before you got here, innit? That I was initially gonna, I wasn't thinking about. I had the idea or the thought that maybe he's down in tools, but initially it doesn't make sense for him to down tools because he's talking about staying in Portland. He has the freestyle about staying in Portland, but there's a contrast there because maybe he's down in tools, but he's saying he wants to stay. But his level of play is so bad that they'll be like, you know what? Maybe initially he doesn't want to be here, but he doesn't want to say it. So initially they're gonna they would think of trading him. But
do you think Dame's that type of guy?
No,
though?
That's the thing. That's why
I don't think so. I think if Dame wants to leave, he's gonna go to the manager and say, "Yo, man, I tried, innit?"
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I just think he's just getting used to the new system, innit? Like, with Billups there, and they're playing much better defense than they were in usual years, innit? Well, compared to for the first 6-7 games that I'm seeing right now.
Portland, this is sensational, bro.
Yeah, like
they've
never been good at defense. So the way they're playing now, I'm seeing the way they're shutting out, playing trapping as well, and they're just exerting a lot more energy on the defensive end. So maybe that's a factor in Damian Lillard's play. And the way the offense is moving now, it's not just isolated plays. It's a lot of ball movement, it's a lot of cut screens. So it's at the end of the day, I think it's maybe just getting used to the new system.
The thing is, though, I would agree with that if he wasn't missing wide open shots. Like it's not like he's, you know, coming off free screens with a hand in his face, and you know what I'm saying, like he's legit taking the same shots he's taken his whole career, and he's missing them. Wide open frees he's missing, step back frees he's missing. Like it seems like he can't even get past people. Like you know what I'm saying, like bro,
he's not flying by, man. Like
yeah, man. I don't know if you guys watched the end of the Cleveland game, but like he got stopped by Jarrett Allen. Like Jarrett Allen switched onto him and he couldn't. Obviously, he needed a 3, but he couldn't shake it.
Create the space.
You know what I'm saying? He couldn't create the space. He took a bad shot.
Obviously, I can't speak to it. I've seen some people on Twitter say like they think he's injured and he's trying to push through or whatever, but obviously I don't know. I can't speak to that, but I just think it might honestly be that like switching up your whole system and committing to defense is probably gonna have some kind of delayed onset. Like it's, do you know what I mean? Like delayed fatigue almost. Like it's, and it might not be that he's maybe just in a bit of a slump, innit? Like you're trying to adjust to a new system. You got a new coach. You're committing. You're doubling down, and like we've seen with all players of like around his caliber of ability to score, the only one who doesn't really struggle, I'd say, in terms of committing to defense and still producing,
KD.
I was gonna say even Steph, because Steph never has to commit in the same way. But yeah, KD's a good example. But I'm saying guard wise, like,
but if you look at, I've seen Steph go through slumps as well.
Yeah, no, 100% he goes through slumps. I'm saying because Steph's defense is like system oriented. Do you know what I mean? Where Dame has always been, we suck at defense. I just guard my man, go get 40. Now he's got to actually commit to like a whole team ethos, and it probably changes a lot. So it could be just a slump, could be injured, could be the ball, but I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Maybe it's
like I reckon in like a month or two, by like Jan, February times, it's not really gonna matter.
Should be alright. Yeah. I think maybe it could be just a mental thing. Like maybe it's just all the drama and the stress of trade rumors and all that shit. And it's just maybe it's just on his back.
Maybe he regrets what he done.
The thing is, the only reason why I can't hear none of these reasons is because it's Dame. Like if this was any other player in the league, I'd hear it. But from what we've seen from Dame,
for the past couple of years,
like he's always been someone who's never allowed
faltered.
Bruv, do you get me? Like he's never allowed outside things to kind of affect him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like last season, I don't know if it was last season, but there was, remember when like one of his closest guys passed.
Yeah.
And he was still
No,
playing
last
through
year.
and he was
Killing
still
it,
going
yeah.
crazy. You get what I'm
Last
saying? And obviously I'm not saying not every situation is the same. So, you know, something different could have happened now that's causing him to be like this. But I don't know, man. It's weird
But
because
that's kind of why I think it's ball related. Obviously, I know it's all hypothetical. Like none of us actually know, man, personally.
Yeah.
But that's why I kind of feel like the system changed. They've obviously lost a few pieces. Like Melo's gone to the Lakers. They've lost like quite significant pieces, I'd say.
yeah.
And like you said, like the whole, it's not just like they've recommitted to playing defense and kept the same system. They've also changed the way that the ball moves offensively. I think for someone who's
they play through CJ much more.
yeah, much. He's very for someone who's been very ball dominant and been able to build up his own rhythm as soon as the season kicks off. It's probably just a bit more difficult to pick up and catch a rhythm in the same way, and he'll probably do it. Like it's the same as similar to Harden. Like Harden's quite ball dominant. Harden's always had the ball in his hands. If at first when like he went to the Nets, they still were playing Kyrie at the one, and it was only when they switched him back to Harden being at the one, Kyrie playing definitively at the two, that Harden started to like re-flourish, and then we started seeing them crazy numbers at the PG spot. So it could just be adjusting to a system that takes the ball out your hands and asks you to play defense. Because defense is tiring, bro.
Fam, at the end of the day, it's basketball. Like players go through slumps, man.
Yeah.
So, like, it's the first 10 games of the season, so it's an
Probably
82
reading
game.
too much into
Yeah,
it.
it's an 82 game stretch. So maybe it's just one of them things. We'll see when it gets further into the season. Let's say January times, and we'll see. What
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he's still like this by Feb, then it's
there's
a
a question
problem.
to
But
be had, yeah.
until then, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Alright, cool. Let's talk about another struggling player, James Harden. What are we saying about him? Do we think this is the foul thing? Him having to? I think we spoke about it a little last week, but
Yeah.
let's speak about it again. I guess
That's
just quickly.
definitely a big. It was not a big factor, but it's definitely a factor because his game he flourishes around free throws.
Speak into the mic, bro.
Second.
Speak into the mic.
Into the mic, yeah. He flourishes because of free throws as well, because he takes a lot of contact, or he initiates a lot of contact. Past years he'll probably have like 10 free throws, maybe 9 to 10 free throws a game, and now maybe those numbers have dropped. But considering the last couple of games when he's mentioned it to the media, he starts to get a lot more foul calls than before in the first 4 games primarily. So I think it's just getting used to the new rules, because nothing's changed with him. Maybe he's still hampering the hamstring injury, because he did have an interview, or he was in a press conference and he was talking about how he didn't have any run of games in the summer. He was just trying to re-up his
get
body,
back
so
healthy.
he didn't have any in-game type of practices to try and get himself into NBA shape. So this is basically his practice now, just at the start of the season. So maybe that's the factor into why he's not playing up to his standard.
I think it's probably more that, you know, because I was literally going to say, like, I was watching one of the games the other day and he just looks just a tad slow. Like, you know how you're saying, obviously, Dame couldn't get past Jared Allen. Like, he's just a little bit like, and Harden's always, well, not always, but we've always been like, oh, Harden's kind of fat and he can still go crazy.
Step on you, yeah.
But yeah, he just seems a tad slow at the moment. So it's probably just playing herself into game shape, playing herself into fitness. Because he's had he started last season kind of like this, still went crazy.
He dropped 40. He dropped 40 in Houston, remember?
No, but I'm saying as in, like, at the start of the season, we were all like, oh, he looks bare fat, oh, he's doing this, bare, da, da, da. I just think he just plays himself into shape through the year. And obviously he's adjusting because they don't have Kyrie now, so there's a lot more
Pressure
like,
on him
and KD to perform, because they don't have that same creator.
Me personally, I think it is that, but I think the free throw rules are affecting him more than people are saying. And I don't just mean in terms of the numbers. Like, I definitely don't mean it in that way, because I know James Harden's gonna be able to get his anyway. But like, we've all played basketball. Do you get me? And a lot of the times, those first free throws are like
rhythm shots.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like a rhythm shot. It's like
Settle you.
like, you know what I'm saying? So I get into my rhythm. Like, you can miss all your shots before, but once you get them first
to the
free
line.
throws,
Yeah.
it kind of settles you down. You get time to breathe, see the ball go through the basket, and you know, you just get your flick of the wrist right, everything right. Do you get me? So I feel like with Harden, I feel like free throws to him were kind of his way to settle into the game. Obviously, I don't know this because we're all just speculating right now. You feel me?
Yeah,
But
that
I'm just
makes
looking at it from a person who's played basketball, and I know about rhythm. I know about these things here, and there are certain players who need free throws
Need to get to
to
the
feel
line.
good, to
Yeah.
get into the feel of the game.
Yeah.
And bruv, for the past, there was a stat that they said James Harden since I think 2014, for the first 5 games, he's had 5+ free throws every game until this year.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? That's crazy.
a
So
massive
imagine
difference.
going from that to go into a game this year having one free throw. He's not seen this in years.
No, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? So this is a total switch up to his mindset, to how he settles into games, to his rhythm, all of that. So I feel like once he kind of gets out of that, okay, I need free throws to get comfortable. I think we're just going to see him back, man. And we all know he has a chip on his shoulder.
It sounds weird, but it might even be deeper than that, you know, in terms of like the free throws are important, but it could even be like his whole play style. Like, we've all said this, we've all used it as a criticism because it kind of makes him struggle in the playoffs, or has led to struggles. His whole play style has been predicated off of
Looking for fouls.
exploiting the rule book. And I think it's genius what he's been doing, but it's weird because like even though his numbers have been better, I think we'd all agree that he was almost like more clinical in a weird way when he was like early Houston days, when he was just kind of playing ball.
Best James Harden.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
That was my favorite.
He was just playing ball. He's not looking for the fouls. Like, he was getting contact and getting to the line, but he wasn't playing based on attempting to get to the line. He was playing and getting to the line within that.
Bruh, if he had the teams,
expanded his game completely as well.
And that's my point.
If he had the teams he had later on in his Houston career
and played the same way, I think
it would be crazy.
100%.
Because his teams, bruv, he was taking DeMontis,
Montionis,
them all giving Chandler Parsons the bag,
scrubby dude to the playoffs, bro. In his first year,
killing
from sixth man to being a starter. He went
and he started off with like 8 straight 40-point games or something, bro.
You know,
crazy.
When I was like, yo, is this guy the greatest player
ever?
Like, he just came out of nowhere.
People aren't understanding. He went from being a sixth man who was primarily a playmaker, like having to get everyone else involved, blah, 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 to being an MVP candidate over summer.
100%.
You know how crazy that is?
But I think that's what it is. I think because I blame Houston, bro, because he's changed his game to like that whole free and layup, free throws, etc. His whole play style, like you've seen it, because in the first couple of games he wasn't getting any calls, and he's still doing the same little step back, waiting for the contact and just hoping for the whistle. And it's just like
the allowance from D'Antoni. D'Antoni just let him do what he wanted to do. So it's a thing where once you have that freedom, you start to explore things. You're like, oh, this shit's easy. Let me keep doing it. And that's why it was continuous thing with the free throws.
I just think if he, and this is what I kind of said a bit last week, like if he's able to regress a little bit and go back to just playing like
basketball,
almost normal basketball, bro, like just chill out and just play normal ball,
it'll make him a better player.
It'll make him better, 100%. But that comes with a lot more, because that means he's got to slim up a bit, lose a bit of weight, and still maintain the strength. Because like even the weight and that, he's able to carry it because a lot of it is built towards that contact and getting to the line and like absorbing the contact in a way that allows him to exploit the rules. So it'll take quite a bit of change, which I don't know if he's willing to do at this stage, but
I think this rule is just making everyone better, though.
Yeah, and I think it's just bringing us back to kind of normal, natural basketball.
This is what basketball used to be like.
Yeah. But I reckon it'll be all right, I'll be honest, because we've seen James Harden adapt 4 or 5 different times and absolutely change his game entirely and still kill at every level. So I don't see why this will be any different, realistically.
Yeah, should be good, man. Should be good. All right, cool. Sorry. Let's move on. So, I mean, this season we've kind of seen it start off in not a weird way, but there are teams that are doing much better than expected and teams are doing, underperforming.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna speak about some of the younger, like exciting teams right now, the teams who, we feel have an extremely bright future. Maybe they just need one more piece, or maybe they just need to grow up.
Yeah.
Do you get me? There's a few teams like that just need to grow up, kind of, grow into their NBA bodies, their NBA physicality, whatever. But I'll give a team. Obviously, this is actually my favorite team this year is Memphis, innit? They're like my favorite young team, because it's just like the culture, the way they carry themselves. Like I feel like I just relate to that team the most. You get me? Just the way they are, like they're just a cold team. Like literally look at the starting lineup. I think apart from Steven Adams, everyone else is
under 25,
under
24 younger, yeah.
Because what is JJR, Melton, Triple J, Melton, Bain. Yeah, and then Steven Adams,
Dylan Brooks
coming back. He's
Dylan Brooks is like 25.
You get me? And that's crazy. Like you look at that core, and then even they got that guy after their rookie, Isaiah Williams. he's been playing pretty good. He started off a bit slow, but he's playing pretty good. He's getting into his own.
They got that light skin big Brandon.
Oh yeah, Brandon Clark.
Clark,
They got Brandon Clark.
Yeah.
Like they got some. They're crazy. Like, the team is actually mad.
Very good young team.
The team is mad young. It's mad young. They even got that Conchar guy. He's pretty good. I think he's a rookie, but he's been playing pretty good. Like they really can be crazy in the next 2 to 3 years. I feel like a lot of it depends on
development.
I think Triple J is probably the most important. Like I need to see his development because I think he's super key.
Yeah,
like he's super key. If he can really get a consistent inside game and like a little bit of a post game, he'll be crazy because he's so mobile. He can shoot the three decently, but I think he just stays out on the perimeter too much.
Yeah,
but if they figure out a way to kind of implement him into the game plan properly, I think that team can be dangerous. And this is without Brooks, their best defender.
Yeah,
do you get me? They've been playing pretty good without him. So yeah, that's my first pick for my young teams. Have you man got any?
Yeah, well, initially it was Memphis Grizzlies. I was trying to get Real by it.
Oh, shit, my bad.
But I'll just add on to you. But I have another one as well. But it's just because we're seeing them not even at their full potential without Dylan Brooks. And the thing is, like, I started to fall in love with that team last year when it's just like no nonsense attitude. Like they don't take shit from no NBA teams, no matter who you are. You could be LeBron, you could be KD. Don't give a fuck who you are. It's just that straight. Like I just don't give a fuck who you are in front of me, and after I'm just gonna play basketball. So with the mentality of Ja and the way he's basically become an MVP candidate already in the first couple of games. Then when you couple that with Jaren Jackson Jr. when he starts to get the repetition and the consistent flow of his game back from before he got the ACL tear, I think that team's going to be stupid as well. But my initial team, well, the second team I was going to choose was the Sacramento Kings. Because this season they've really surprised me. I can't even lie, and I think like the additions of Davion Mitchell, coupled with the rotation of Buddy Hield on the bench with him, and then after Halliburton with De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes, and even their big man, I can't put my finger on it. What's his name? Rashad Holmes. Like that, the team. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Luke Walton's actually starting to. Put a good team together as well, and he's starting to. He's starting now, but
I'm not even disagreeing with you. I just can't believe the words.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Loud,
but it's just the way he's got the system working. Like they don't have a crazy good record, but you start to see. You can actually like see the you can see the potential in that lineup and the potential in that team now. Like before, a couple of years ago, you're looking at that Kings team and thinking, what the fuck is this? With the ability, with the players that they have with Fox and Hield. But now you're starting to see Fox kill it. Then when Fox goes to the bench, you have Halliburton killing it. Then when Halliburton goes to the bench, you have Davion Mitchell killing it. And then after you have Hield knocking down threes. And then Harrison Barnes stepped up his game even more this season as well. So they have a lot of reliable players in that team. And just they're like 26 and younger. Maybe Harrison Barnes is probably their oldest player.
Yeah.
So with that team and how young they are and the ability of all of them together with how many years they're going to have behind under them, I think they're a scary team to look at in the future.
Do the Knicks count as a young team? I know they've got a couple of vets that played for them, but they kind of traded for a lot of older.
The starting lineup's a little bit old.
If not, then Atlanta still. Obviously, they've not had the greatest start to the season. I think they're they're 12th at the moment, so they're not started well at all, but... Just based off the back of last year, bro, like I don't really see how similar to the Grizzlies in the sense of like their attitude and like the way they approach the game. They play differently, obviously, but in terms of kind of the core belief of the team, they all believe in each other, they all believe in themselves, they all have supreme confidence, and they're very cold, bro. Like Ja Morant and obviously Trae Young, very different players, very different play styles, but the absolute like the quality of player and like the IQ of both of them as point guards is absolutely out of the world. Like it's extremely high. I like John Collins a lot. I've liked him from when he kind of came into the league, and I just feel like similar to what we kind of saying last year, they've got a lot of great. They got DeAndre Hunt and they got Cam Reddish off the bench. They got like the big what's his name, Capella. Yeah, like, I just feel like they're very well rounded, and after the coaching change last year, they began to actually play more as a unit. So when they kind of come into their own and get a bit more comfortable this year, I reckon they'll still be a team to watch for years to come.
Do you think they should try and incorporate Sharif Cooper and their other draft pick into the lineup soon?
Yeah,
I think they're cool with Lou Williams coming off the bench still.
I think it's a bit of a force. I mean, obviously, if you can bring him in and he can contribute naturally, like
I was gonna say
8
it
to
needs
10
to be
minutes a game, maybe, like for at least until he gets a bit more. But I don't think you necessarily need to play him.
You don't need to.
Yeah, bro. I feel like you can make them earn their minutes, bro.
Because you got to look at them last year in the playoffs. They had too many players anyway. Like there's certain players that weren't really getting much minutes that were actually good players. Do you get me? And that's without having DeAndre Hunter and then Cam Reddish only coming back, towards you know what I'm saying.
The season,
So it's like now if you have all your players the whole season, it's gonna be super hard to see that guy getting any.
He's gonna have to earn the minutes still. I don't think you can kind of.
It's gonna be a struggle. He's very similar to Trae Young, like in the way they play. You get me? Obviously, Trae Young's not the greatest shooter, but he's a little bit of a better shooter than Sharif in it. But just like obviously their stature, the way they dribble, the way they pass, their oops, all of that stuff, they're very similar. Do you get what I'm saying? So, they drafted well. They drafted very well. And if they develop him, like Lou Williams, you can go, like he's getting old.
He wants to retire. I think
he wants to retire. He even said it.
Exactly.
But I reckon for the year, like he's gonna have to grind it out and earn his minutes every.
So you know what I'm saying? Work on your NBA physicality. Come back next year ready to lead the bench unit. And Atlanta are looking crazy. You feel me?
Bro.
But I got one more pick. I just want to talk about the Timberwolves quickly.
Yeah, that was going to be the second one. So for me, got them on.
Yeah, Timberwolves. They're really good, man. I mean, you got Cat who's 25, D'Lo 25, and 20, 21, no 20, I think.
Yeah,
20 or whatever. Yeah, they got Vanderbilt who's like 21 or 22.
Jalen Williams. The lanky brother. Like,
McDaniels. McDaniels. Yeah, he's like 21. Do you get me? Like that Joshua Kogi. He's another young guy.
Who's the big off the bench with the dreads? I always forget his name.
Talk about Naz Reid.
He is cold.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, he can shoot, he can play defense. Like,
I think they're cursed, man. I actually think they're cursed.
Why?
Did you watch the Clippers games?
I think the thing is though, I just think it's early, man. They still make too many mistakes. Like do you get me? Like they still like Cat and D'Lo still take a lot of bad shots.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They still kind
of.
Do you
think it's a time thing, or do you think it's a coaching thing?
How many coaches are they gonna have?
No, but I
don't know. That's the problem. Because
I don't think they're cursed, but I do think they've not had a great culture at all for a long time. I don't know where that comes from.
Because Kat said he's had like 8 coaches, maybe 8 to 9 coaches in the space of his career.
I think they'll be good, man. I think they'll be good. I think that the talent is too much for it, and the talent and the way their chemistry is looking and the way they're kind of working together. It seems like they will see some sort of success. I'm not saying they're gonna make the playoffs, but I do think they're gonna give a fight. I do think they can definitely be like within the play-in battle. But yeah, like they're gonna grow, man. Do you get me? Like Pat Bever's seeming to fit in decently. They got Millie Beasley. You get me? Like they've got some real hitters on that team. Like some real ballers. They just need to fix it. Like they looked good at the start. Then they've had a bit of a slump.
The thing I'm worried about, like majority of the time, is D'Lo because he's been injured for the last 2 to 3 games. So like almost every season he has like a stunt that just stops him playing. Then he has to get back into his flow, get back into his rhythm, and by that time the NBA is at full flow. And he's just to get into it, and he's already behind. So I just don't like how he keeps getting injured at certain points of the season, like the start of the season as well.
I haven't listened to everything you said, but even like something Kat said the other day kind of bothered me still. Like I think what he was trying to say was right, because he was like, obviously I think they're on like a 3-game losing streak, and he's like, yeah, we need to be careful because I've seen it turn into 8, 9, 18. But I'm just like, bro, you're the best player, you're the franchise player, you're like you're the lead, and you've been there for time. You shouldn't ever be saying anything like that. Like you can make them cautious, but you need to find a better way to say that.
Stay committed, and that's all.
That's a bit brazy still. If my star player is saying, "Oh, this could turn into 18 real quick,"
very demotivating.
That's a bit mad, yeah, man. I can't lie. I guess keeping on the kind of topic of younger players and people that are absolutely killing right now. And like
teams, by the way, bro.
Pardon?
Talk about teams, not players.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying I'm switching to like.
Oh, you're switching to players.
Yeah,
a player that's been playing well and a team that's playing well right now.
Oh, okay.
The Warriors, Jordan Poole and that.
Oh,
As in we're just gonna transition
Oh yeah,
because we ain't really got any young things to talk about in
yeah,
this. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Also, I thought you
recognition
had more,
to him. No,
I thought you had
no.
more teams. Okay, no, that's calm then. That's calm. But yeah, you're right. Yeah,
JP.
Jordan Poole's been looking good.
JP,
The Warriors been looking good.
Yeah, bro.
And that's even with half of their team, not half of their team, but a good amount of their team.
Good
It's
amount.
like,
not two like probably keys as well.
with me, I just think the main thing I've noticed with the Warriors is they just recruit perfectly. Like every player they get,
It just fits the system
in their
20.
team.
Perfect.
Like they
Gary
went and picked up
Payton.
Bielka,
Sure they did.
and he looked like he's played with the Warriors for years. He looks like David Lee. He looks like David Lee back
Like the
when
Spurs
they,
in 2000s, bro.
yeah, bro.
Like every player just
every
fits
single
them.
bruv. Gary Payton, he's coming.
He's like Barbosa.
Yeah. Like the thing is, what I've noticed about the Warriors is there's a couple things with the Warriors. First of all, if you want to get paid, go play with the Warriors.
100%.
Secondly, if you want to revive your career and have the time of your life, go play with the
Go play
Warriors.
with the Warriors, bro.
Think about it. Every
man just
player,
have fun.
I think what I think it is, I think that Warriors energy, like the thing is next level. Like, cause you see, there's two different types of teams or two different types of people. You can go to a Laker type team where you have, your leader is like a LeBron type
Yeah, it's
leader.
like
and
gravitas.
there's nothing wrong with
like
that. But some
yeah.
players cannot take that LeBron type
Yeah.
leadership. You know what I'm saying? The Kuzmas, them man that are just
They all
the
fold.
new era people. You know what I'm saying?
They just
A bit
fold.
softer, a bit.
Yeah.
They need caring. They need nurturing.
Yeah.
Why do you think these men are going and they're flourishing now? Because they're happy. Because there's not that pressure
On their
of
back.
damn, I need to be great. Like if I turn the ball over, this guy's gonna
Yeah.
look at me and I'm gonna be scared. You get me?
Facts.
Some players can work with that. Do you feel me? That's why some players get better
Go
with
crazy.
LeBron.
What?
But some can't. Some people are simply not built for that tough, authoritarian dictatorship type stuff. Some people need a loving community where it's like you come into training and everyone's just banting. You see Curry running around,
Yeah, like
throwing up threes from the stands.
Yeah,
you
you
know,
know,
what
encouraged
I'm
for
saying?
everything,
Like,
like,
do you know what it is with the Warriors? It's like when I watch the Warriors, I watch people play for the Warriors. It's like they haven't like you see how basketball's meant to be fun. It's meant to be fun. It's like that's the initial reason you started playing basketball because it's fun. When you play with LeBron, it's serious because you know the end goal is a championship. With the Warriors, obviously the championship is at the end goal, but if you don't make it, it's cool.
Like,
but if you do make it, it's an amazing shit because it's the Warriors at the end of the day. That's how I feel.
The thing is, with LeBron teams, you can have fun, but you have to be winning. Do you get me? Like
Yeah.
you can see with the Warriors
you can
team,
enjoy wins when you're with the Lakers
exactly.
or LeBron.
Remember, even on that, remember the Warriors have been trash for a couple years, but they were
energy's
still
always been the
dancing on the
same level.
sideline,
Yeah, man.
still even
The
on
energy's
losing
never
games,
dipped.
still running around, jumping, doing this, doing that. You get me, bruv? When the Lakers weren't making the playoffs,
was
LeBron
doom
was
and
sitting
gloom.
on the edge of the bench. He wasn't clapping for nothing. Do you get me? He didn't care. It's like, yo, we need to win. So with the Lakers, it's like, if you're, or not Lakers, but with LeBron teams, it's like if we were winning, we can have the time of our lives. But when we're not winning,
I think
cut all that shit out.
I think you know what? It's with the mix of playing with the Lakers as well. There's so much. They've won how many championships?
Yeah, it's
in-
pressure,
there's
man.
It's so
pressure.
much.
It's
It's,
pressure.
it's stressful. So
It's pressure.
and you're adding LeBron to that mix as well.
Yeah.
It's fuck. That's why you see Brandon Ingram
Yeah.
is playing well in
Exactly.
fucking with the
Yeah,
Pelicans
well,
as well. Now
you got to look at it like, bruv, Curry and the Warriors have overachieved no matter what anyone. Nobody
Definitely,
ever
100%.
thought they were
Never,
ever going to win.
They weren't supposed to be here.
Rings. Yeah, they
100%.
weren't. They
They weren't
weren't.
supposed to be here. I can't lie.
Bro, Curry, his first few years, he couldn't play more than like 30 games a season, bro. He kept going down with his ankle.
was bumming him out.
Crazy.
Every year, literally every year. Like I remember watching him, like, yo, this guy is hard, and he would always get injured, like right by
Without
All-Star
fail.
break or
Yeah.
whatever. You get me? And then all of a sudden, he changed his shoes or whatever, and then
ankle gear.
Yeah, ankle gear, and he just never got a serious one again. Really, obviously he has, but nothing as
crazy,
bad as
yeah,
it was.
nothing too crazy.
So yeah, man, the Warriors, I don't know, and as we've all said, they still have people coming back.
Clay and Wiseman.
They still got Clay and Wiseman. I don't know. Wiseman's going to be interesting because I'm not sure how he fits.
He'll fit because he's not going to start over Looney because Looney is an integral part of the system. But with Wiseman coming off the bench with his defense and his ability to score in the paint,
Thing is, though, I think his defense is a little overrated, and honestly, I just don't know if he's the type of big that the Warriors
need,
like.
yeah,
You
yeah,
get me?
yeah.
The Warriors
Really
like, they need that
utilize man
lob
like that,
threat. You just need to be a pick and roll lob threat and a defensive anchor.
just hold down the middle.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were the best when they had the bigs like Bogut.
Yeah.
The man
Yeah.
that like, yo, listen.
they need them fat, sturdy bodies.
Yeah, man. You
Literally,
give me them screens.
that's all they need,
Give me them
man.
screens.
So Corey, like,
Even
That's all I
McGee,
want.
like you give McGee 2 jobs, and that's all he did,
Yeah,
and it
all
was
McGee had
great.
to do
like,
was
yeah,
foul
man.
The thing is,
and
McGee
get a
wasn't even
rebound.
stocky. He was just fucking long. So
Yeah,
Facts,
you get
but
me?
it's the same
Yeah.
role still. When they do
Yeah.
that, they fit well in the Warriors. Man.
Yeah, so obviously Wiseman is more of a skill big man.
Yeah.
Do you get me? So like he needs touches, he needs the ball in the post. You need to give him the ball and let him go to work. But with the Warriors, they use their bigs as they use their bigs as outlets, and they use their bigs as just I need you in the paint for the lob or for the rebound. Like I don't want you doing crossover, tween. You get me? I don't need all of that. We've got enough of that. You feel me?
They'll kill it with
It's like,
Pachulia.
no, the bigs work best. It's like an extension of Draymond.
Yeah.
It's like all the guards are gonna be great. So let Draymond, if you can't find the guard, you can't finish, just lob it up to you. That's it.
Like,
and then he's gonna roam around, you hold down the middle. That's it.
Has there been a big that's not looked good? Has there been a non-skill big that's not looked good for the Warriors? Look, they even had more space. You know what I'm saying? Like every
buckets.
You getting buckets, more buckets. That's his name, more buckets. You get me? More buckets. But that's the thing. Like the Warriors, they know
take
what
bigs
type
like
of
that and bring the best out of them.
Exactly, which is why honestly I was a bit surprised when they grabbed him. Obviously, I understood. Clay was meant to be coming back. They thought let's try maybe a different angle.
Different approach.
Can you imagine
LaMelo? It could have been nuts. It could have been nuts. Obviously, that could have, and maybe it wouldn't have worked as well.
That could have started Jordan Poole though.
There's a lot of things that could have happened. There's a lot of things that could have happened, but we'll never know. And I'm to be honest, I'm happy that things went the way they did because I prefer Melo on Charlotte.
And you can still trade Wiseman for a decent.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? There are teams that will want him if the Warriors can't find a way to
implement him. Can't make it work.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, Jordan Poole, like, you know what I'm saying? He's made the crazy jump, man. He's made a crazy jump.
You proved me wrong still, that. I didn't
Well,
see it, but boy, like he's shown me his bag is immense.
He's nice, bro.
His bag is immense.
You just don't care. Just confidence, man. That's what I'm saying.
I think
it's that warrior.
It's weird because that is what Steph does, and you kind of said it a bit last season, and like I understood it, but you're seeing it now when they're having success. Like Steph unlocks a level of freedom in especially younger guards that you don't really see with any other player, because a lot of the other mentors and that you're still below Steph, but you're definitively underneath them.
Yeah.
With these man, it's just like if you get the ball in the perimeter, unless I'm wide open for the free,
you're
allowed to get jiggy with it. Like it's calm,
everyone's
have your
equal.
fun.
Like, if you trust it, if you believe in your move, make your move.
Yeah, bro. And
like no one's gonna look at you weird.
He dances for you like Clay's just hit 37 and a quarter or something, bro. Like it's crazy levels of support.
I think that's a bit like Dame as well, though, because with CJ, I remember when Dame was still killing it, and after the CJ started to come up, now Anthony Simons has come up.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think like Dame holds anyone back. I just think the way that Steph does it, I don't know how to describe it. It's just
joyful.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's a level of joy that something else and everyone.
Yeah, them man are different level, man. Them man are different level.
Great team,
but I mean,
Boston.
What, you want to talk about Boston?
Yeah, I think skip the.
Yeah. So Boston.
On the flip side,
we should have actually spoken about them when we're speaking about struggles. I actually want to
say
on
the flip side, we got bumming it up.
Yeah, I wanted to speak about Tatum, but yeah. On the flip side, a team that new coach who I thought would be able to kind of relate with the players a little more, kind of get to them a bit more. You know what I'm saying? Their team, like I don't think there's much excuses for how poor they've been, in my honest opinion. I don't think there is. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they've got, no one's really been injured. Obviously, Jaylen Brown is still recovering from COVID, but he's been playing good, so he's not really the issue. He's not the issue. What is the issue?
There's so much going on. I don't even know, man. Jason Tatum started the season awfully. The coaching, obviously, like you're getting used to a new system, but it just doesn't excuse the performances. And then there's certain players like Dennis Schroeder. I can't lie, that guy pisses me off so much, man.
He should.
He's the only veteran point guard in this league that he just lacks IQ for the game. So when you have players like that on your team, it brings down like the sense of your team to a level where a majority of defenses are going to read you and they're going to understand what you're doing. I'm seeing him make cross-court passes and the ball's stolen. Then 3 possessions later, he's doing the same thing and it's getting stolen. So I'm just thinking he's not learning from his experiences in the past and he's bringing it onto our young team now, and it's just affecting them in a way. But I'm not going to put the blame on Schroeder.
I think it's the whole team, though. I think they're all kind of like Tatum's obviously had a rough start to the season and that, but we've been talking about his shot selection and improving and getting to the line more, whatever, for like going on 2 years, bro. And it's the same. he'll brick like 4 or 5 straight and hit the same sidestep 3, thinking it's gonna drop. Like there's no like,
variation. You know, there's no variation because if it's not dropping for you, that's when I can understand where Smart's coming from. But he went an avenue like down a road that just didn't need to go. Like he didn't
Smart.
go
No, yeah, Smart. I can't.
Yeah.
Smart for that game was chatting rubbish.
Yeah.
But the Celtics as a whole,
in general. Yeah,
I said last year the team itself actually isn't that good. And I don't know if they've made enough changes this year
too
for
top.
it to
Like
be
I said last year, it's too
for
top
it to
heavy.
be any different.
But I think it's like there's certain times when I'm looking at it, like with Jason Tatum, he has the ability to be an amazing playmaker. So if he now adapts himself to now start saying, yeah, I'm gonna get Al Horford into the game, I'm gonna get more of some, let's see, what's that young player's name on the bench, the light skin guy.
It's a bit vague.
Langford.
Langford, yeah, it's Langford. I'm gonna get him into the game. I'm gonna get a majority of these players into the game, and eventually he'll start to get his rhythm into the game. Like when everybody's making shots, it's gonna make it easier for you to expand yourself and now score. But if you're gonna keep on forcing up shots, 5-step threes,
to play more like
overly
PG.
contested
The
layups,
thing
it's just
is-
not gonna make sense for
The
him.
thing is, I hear all that, but bro, Tatum's been the same guy
Since
since he came in the
basically.
league. He's been doing these stupid shots since he came in the league. Like, I'm pretty sure. I don't know who's in his corner. I don't know what his coaches are telling him. I don't know what his shooting coach is telling him. But somebody needs to tell him, bro,
This
you
can't
are
run.
an athletic
6'10".
beast, bro. Like, do you get me? You're 6'10", you got long arms, you got a good handle, you're strong. Like, you can get to the rim with ease. Bro, when he wants to get to the rim, he
It's
gets to the
ridiculous,
rim.
bro. You can't stop
All the
him.
time.
Every time.
You don't stop him.
He does a spin move. His arms
at
are
the
too
rim,
long.
yeah,
You can't
yeah,
get
bro.
him.
Can't get to him.
Do you get me? He's got a quick
Finishing every
spin.
which way, he's dunking quickly.
Bro.
Like it's
But
ridiculous.
he chooses to do tween like on Giannis. You get me? Like you have Giannis in front of you. You're doing a side
Shooting
step.
contested
You know,
sidestep threes
from
and
the right side, just side stepping to your right. Like what you
Just
doing?
Made the game easier.
What
for
you
yourself.
doing, bro?
Like, even I think maybe he needs to start going back into the post a bit more.
Yeah,
needs to play
man.
more
I just,
direct
Just
line
get easier
ball, bro.
buckets. Like the frees, yeah, the frees are important in this generation. Yeah, cool, but twos are easier to get. At the end
and
of the
I
day.
also think there's a growing issue starting between him and Jaylen Brown. I think when they first both came into the league, it was a bit easier because none of them were actually
no expectations for them.
Yeah.
they weren't a star. Do you get me? Like I'm not expecting you to go out and get 25 every night. But they
yeah.
were both getting their nice, cool 15 to 18, and then they still had, Kyrie there, and they had whatever.
Then Kemba came in.
Do you get what I'm saying? Exactly. So they've always had that, but now it's like
You have
it's
to
a
get your
crossroads.
25 a
Do you
night.
get me? Because it's like now you first of all, no matter what, on every team there needs to be a number one and a number two. There has to be. Like there's no team that
just splits
splits evenly.
but yeah.
Do you get me? You always know who's the one and who's the two. I can't tell you who's the one or who's the two on that team. Like I know Tatum is definitely
So,
meant
best
to be
player.
the
Yeah.
two, but he's not. I mean the one, sorry, but he's not performing like the one,
need to make-
and he's not a playmaker enough, in my opinion, to be the one. If you're the one, you need to be able to bring other people into
I think
the
that's
game.
a choice though, because I think if Tatum played more like how Paul George has been playing towards the end of last year and how he's playing
He
now,
can.
and he's got the ability
Yeah.
to do it. If he played more like Paul George, and then let Jaylen Brown do what he like. Obviously, he's expanding his game. He's got more skill now, but his game is a little bit more simple and kind of directly effective.
That's what I was gonna say. I think
If you
I
let-
think Brown scores way easier.
Yeah, because he's more of like a straight line player,
Yeah.
or like he catches it, boom, goes to
Yeah,
the rim.
exactly,
Like he's not doing all the extra stuff.
Yeah.
and he does it when it needs to be done. But I feel like if Tatum needs to play more like PG right now,
He overcomplicates his game.
yeah, bro, and then just let Jaylen Brown just score.
But that's the thing
with
about great
ease, 'cause
players.
that's what he
like,
does.
Great players are meant to be able to realize that and make.
I don't
that
need to make life
adjustment.
complicated for myself.
Do you think
Yeah.
Tatum is gonna make that adjustment?
I think someone needs to have a very serious convo with
It's his
him.
4th year or 5th year.
Fifth, bro. He's been in the league for a while.
Yeah. Obviously, this is like his second year really with
Leading the
him
Celtics.
and whatever, and Brown really being the guys in it. So it's still a little bit. It's still early in
Early
his
in
career.
this dynamic, yeah,
you
that's
get me?
fair,
Still
still.
early in his career in this dynamic. So there obviously is a chance that things can still, he can still make that change, make that adjustment. But I just don't know if he will. I just don't know if he wants to. I think he's too addicted to
he's too comfortable doing what he's doing.
He really wants that Kobe type story, man. He really wants to be the guy who makes the difficult shots and does this and does that.
Kobe will hit difficult shots, but he's not doing the in between, behind the back, double
Kobe
was literally like, it's what Jaylen Brown's doing is what Kobe doing. Well, Kobe needed 2 dribbles, pull up straight mid range. Like he didn't really need to do all that.
The thing is, when Kobe was doing all that extra shit, he didn't win. So he cut it out, got a good team, and went got the rest of his rings. Like I don't know.
It's just a growing process for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I think it is, because Jason Tatum does have the potential to be not the number 1 option. That even last year I was saying he's the number 1 option. Now I don't know who he is, because with the way that Jaylen Brown's been playing and is playing at the moment, I'm just like, he makes the game so simple for himself and he scores so efficiently. Like even when I looked at the stats there, he was 10 for 18. Tatum's 8 for 22. So I'm just thinking, you're taking a lot more shots than him and you're not making them. And Jaylen Brown's making a lot less and scoring a lot more than you. So it's just, he just needs to simplify his game at the moment. But
I wonder how much
I'll allow him in it because it's a new system and that. So maybe he's just getting used to it. I'm gonna allow him because that's my guy. But
I wonder how much locker room comes into it though. Because after the loss to the Bulls, obviously this is a while back, but you see the Marcus Smart comments.
Yeah,
I feel like, obviously after I saw those comments online and I went.
What's his comments, by the way? Sorry, just.
He basically said,
they need to pass the ball.
Yeah, he basically said like, I can't do much just standing in the corner. Jalen and Jason know they're trying to double team them and get the ball out of their hands, so they need to start passing the ball, start forcing up shots.
Passing the ball.
Oh, wow.
But obviously, I went back and watched that game, and I don't know if this is like an accumulative thing because they've been taking a couple L's or whatever, but towards the end when they were blowing that lead and like even when they were like, the game was close and like they had a chance to basically regain momentum and take the lead and win the game commandingly, the bench players and the role players were not doing enough, bro. Like they just didn't do their job at all. I think Marcus Smart hit like 1, maybe 2 shots in the entire time, and we've seen him hit like a good amount of shots. Yeah, bro. Like, pardon?
Throughout that run with the Bulls or in the entire game?
Throughout the run with the Bulls when they were like giving away the lead, basically. And even towards the end, they had an opportunity to bring it back, and then the Bulls went on another run at the end. Yeah. And Marcus Smart didn't really do much, and he had opportunities. He was allowed to bring the ball up. He got the ball in the wing. Like, I was watching it. I don't think the shots that Tatum and Brown took then were actually bad shots. I think maybe one drive by Tatum was a bit forced, but the rest of them were actually good shots. It kind of just didn't fall. And then you had role players getting decent looks from the wing or from the corner like you expected and just not making them. Yeah, so obviously I agree that Tatum needs to be held accountable and probably switch his game up a bit, but I don't see how kind of your grit and grind leader is throwing you under the bus is going to help at all.
Yeah, I didn't like
especially
that.
when they're both younger and kind of clearly trying to figure it out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was a bit dumb.
Yeah, I mean the Marcus Smart experiment is funny because you know last year I remember we was all like, yeah, they need to resign this guy, blah blah blah, and I agreed. I felt he was an untouchable piece, and 100%. I do still feel like he can be important to the team, but it's like, is he working? What is he really? Like, what is Marcus Smart? Because they're starting him as a point guard. But is he really a point guard?
He's not a point guard.
He don't play like a point guard.
I think Marcus Smart with ego is a problem for your team.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart with a point to prove is probably one of the greatest assets any team can hope for.
Marcus Smart, the leader, is one of the best assets you can have for your team.
Yeah.
I think he's at a point now, I think, in his career where he's progressed a lot in terms of his ability, and I feel like he thinks he deserves more of a role, like more of an offensive role.
Yeah.
And I can't knock that because we've seen him hit big shots. We've seen him do big things for the Celtics offensively. He's been key for them.
100%.
But
he's always done that as like the 4th or 5th option.
And is it worth taking the ball out of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's hand to give it to Marcus Smart? In my opinion, no. Yeah, in my opinion, no. I think obviously he can be implemented more to the offense, but I think they're playing the best way they can in terms of the shots the shots that are getting taken. Yeah. I think it's fair. Like, bro, Brown and Tatum need to be taking 20 shots every game minimum. Next should probably be Horford. Do you get me? And then maybe you can
everybody
talk
else
about
that, maybe Schroeder with
exactly.
Then after.
Then I don't care about no one else, but Brown and Tatum have to take 20 shots.
100%. I just think
Horford between 10 and 12, 10 to 13, 10 to 14.
Unless the role players can prove that they can knock down shots efficiently, then
because
there's no reason for me to decrease my amount.
I don't think the delegation of who's getting the shot should change at all. I just think maybe if you alter the type of shots or the like where in the game the shots are coming for Tatum, that changes a lot for them.
Yeah, I think maybe
I don't really think there's much else they can do.
Tatum should just start taking less threes in the game and just start posting up and just making the game be different.
It's not even about taking less threes. It's the type of frees
He just needs to be. He needs to play a lot simpler.
But with the
man.
frees that he's taken, they're dumb frees. They're highly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like it's literally like, bruv, like we know how the NBA is nowadays, man. Every player that can shoot a free is taking 5 threes a game. You feel me? But
shot selection
the way,
should still be important.
and the thing is, Tatum's shot, like he's not the type of guy, in my opinion. The way his shot form is, he's not the type of guy that can take those shots. I don't think. Obviously, I know everyone's shot form is
Different.
is to you, but I don't know, man. His shot form is kind of rigid. Like
your shot limits
it's not
you
smooth.
still.
Yeah, it's just
quite
yeah,
rigid.
it makes because you can tell like when he'll be doing a move,
No, but he has
and then
to-
the way he
has to set himself
he has
up
to do
for it.
so much to take that shot that his shot is not fast.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Like it's really mechanical and like
Yeah.
vroom.
When you compare it
vroom.
to someone like KD, when it's just
Do you
smooth,
get me?
it's
Like
just up and down.
I hit my move, I go up. Steph, I hit my move, I go up. Dame, I hit my move, I go up. All these guys, but Tatum, he hits his move, and then by the
have to
time
go
he's
back to
going
the
up,
pocket, then
there's
bring it up
still
again.
so there's
Fantastic.
still so many mechanics. So by the time he's shooting, I'm right there in your face every time. He doesn't really get many open shots. Even when he creates space, a lot of the time
By
the
the
guys
time he's
get
got,
back.
yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I can't speak on a guy's shooting form because you know your shooting form is for you. But I do think shooting forms can make certain things a little bit harder because it's like if he had a quicker release, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe a lot of the
smooth
shots would be
just
more open or whatever.
boom, he'll
Yeah.
be getting shots off more quickly. But you know that's neither here nor there. So you know we can
come with
only
time.
speculate on that. But yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about another power dynamic in the East. Chicago, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan.
Great.
What do we think,
That's
man?
smiling.
Who do we think is the go-to?
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
saying?
It doesn't
No matter,
matter.
yeah.
No, I can't lie. I think I know I keep referencing them, but almost similar to the Clippers, and I think DeMar should be allowed to kind of score the most consistently because I feel like LaVine is a much more streaky player, a much more streaky scorer,
Yeah.
and he kind of gets them in bunches. So like DeMar will come out with like his 36, 37 or even averaging like 28 or so because he's just scoring consistently through each quarter. And then LaVine will just get hot, hit 2 threes, quick drive, dunk, quick
Yeah,
drive,
and
quick
then it's
finish.
over.
And then all of a sudden, DeMar's got 12, and in 2 minutes, LaVine's got 10, and they're right neck and neck with each other. So I don't think they need to change anything in terms of how they started the year because I feel like LaVine's kind of getting his where they come, and it hasn't been forced, and no one's really because they're all deferring to each other. No one's deferring. Does that make sense? Like no one's getting missed out. No one's not getting their shots. Like Lonzo still gets his. Everyone's still getting a decent fair amount of looks, and I just think it's all gonna be situational. Like I personally think LaVine should probably be taking like the most clutch shots and the shots towards the end of the game, just because I think his ability to pull up and create from anywhere on the perimeter, 3 or 2, gives him more like versatility and more like just allows him to do more. But I don't really think it matters, bro. Like they all seem comfortable.
From what
They
we're
all seem
seeing
happy for
earlier,
anyone to take it. And because DeRozan does have the experience over them, I think it's okay for him to get a couple more shots and kind of be allowed to flourish in a way that he hasn't in a couple of years. Obviously, you man could see it differently, but I just don't think it matters that much.
Shaka.
Yeah, go through.
Cool. I mean, personally, I kind of see it in a similar way to what we're just speaking about, to the Tatum and Brown thing. I think LaVine, you can compare him a little bit more to Tatum, DeRozan more, Jaylen Brown. I think not in the way of difficult shots, because, you know, I think Zach LaVine defo is a better shot, not a better shot creator, but he defo takes better shots.
Yeah,
I think he takes better shots, but he still does take some shots that I'm like,
Highly contested.
do you get what I'm saying?
No,
But
defo.
yeah, but Zach LaVine is that type of guy. Do you get me? Like when he hits those, he's really hitting those.
Yeah. Once one of them drops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
And DeRozan is DeRozan. Do you get me? He's a mid-range assassin. He's gonna get you back you down in the post. He's gonna turn around, you know, fade away. He's gonna
Flush
fade,
the
get to the
rim,
rim.
flush,
Do you get me?
all
He
of it.
inside the paint, he can score in 500 different ways. I mean, not inside the paint. Sorry, inside the 3-point line, he can score in 500 different ways. Outside the 3-point line, not so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the same as Rael, to be honest. I think that the way they are now is nice. I think DeRozan usually starts off kind of going crazy, and then Zach LaVine just gets his shots when he wants to in his spots, and it just works, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was one of the best pickups I've ever seen.
100%.
Like,
And it's weird because it was one of the things I would have never thought of it.
never. Like, when I saw DeRozan to the Bulls, I was
such
like,
a
wow,
great
that makes
pickup.
so much sense.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that makes so much sense, but I would have
So
never
much
thought about
sense,
that. That makes so much sense, but I would have never thought about that. But yeah, let's just wrap it up with your...
Initially, when I was talking to Rare about earlier on, I was saying I would go to DeRozan more because he's a more consistent scorer, well, within the paint, within the 3-point line.
Yeah.
But I do agree that both it should be both actually. But my point for DeRozan was because you can literally get your score in 10,000 different ways in the paint, whether it's in the paint, whether it's mid range, whether it's creating and getting a foul. Like, he's that vet savvy that he can just score in any way he wants within the 3-point line. But with Levine, the difference is because his range is so much, it's extended further, so it's just he's a bigger threat. He's a bigger threat when it comes to 3-point shooting and mid range, and then gets to the paint because he's so athletic as well. So with Levine, I think it's because Levine's a volume shooter, and when he's hot, he's fucking hot. So he can hit 5 threes in a row. And by the time that happened, you're literally the team's probably like 10 points down. Yeah. So it's a thing where I trust Levine to get me out of a slump. I trust DeRozan to get me over the line when it's in the clutch. That's how I would put it.
I disagree. You know, I get what you mean, but I feel like DeRozan keeps you steady and pushes like to keep you kind of 4 to 6 points in the league. And if Levine gets hot, that's when you balloon to that 20-point lead, and then there's no coming back from it. I feel like obviously we've seen DeMar do it, and I'm not going to take away from his ability to score because you've seen him he's had a 50 game before, no?
Yeah.
He's had 50 balls. Like, we've seen him put up crazy numbers, but I just think the way he does it, obviously he is so Kobe-esque, but it's like the way he does it is like he chooses to just take like 10 to 12 more shots from the mid because he knows he's on that day. Whereas Levine can be taking the same normal shots and then boom, 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 rapid from 3, and all of a sudden he's just rattled off another 12, 15. Like, I agree in terms of...
I'm just speaking from what I've seen so far in it, because
I agree with the playing style. Like, DeMar's more steady. Obviously, Levine's streakier, but I think I almost value that ability to get hot in minutes more when it comes to like clutch and closing games and kind of putting people to bed.
Let me just give my. I'll just like give a little bit on that. Yeah, I kind of agree with both of you in both ways. I personally feel like it more depends what the situation is in the clutch. Yeah. I feel like there are certain times that I'll probably go to DeRozan. So let's say we're like down 1. I think I'm going to go to DeRozan because the thing with Zach LaVine is I feel like sometimes he tries to challenge himself. I feel like he actually tries to take tough shots. Yeah. Like, I really think he does.
To prove a point.
Yeah, to like,
I agree with that. So
I can do this.
Like, I've seen it in his face. I'm going to do the mad thing, and you're not going to see that I can do this.
And he gets frustrated, and you can tell like when he gets frustrated, he makes it a mission to prove like, yo, I'm better than all of you lot, like F off. And I think that kind of affects his game sometimes because he starts getting personal. Do you get me? And there's nothing wrong with that because
it can go against
you. You feel me?
DeRozan's cool and level-headed.
That guy, I'm never. You know what I'm saying? He don't get rattled. He don't get rattled. You know that if it's a 1-point game, he's gonna get the easiest shot possible. He's gonna try and get underneath the basket and drop it inside.
No matter how tough it is, you're not stopping him because DeMar knows I've made this shot a million times, and I'm gonna make it a million more.
No matter what.
Once he gets you in the post, it's long.
But if it's anything more than that, if it's like a 2-point or 3-point game,
if you're down like 4+, Levine, if you're down like 2, keep it to DeRozan. That's fair still.
Well, literally you just finished right on an hour.
Anyway,
yeah, man.
Balls for the Chip 2021. My brother.
Season 2, episode 2. That's a wrap. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your people. Them.
Sure.
Anything else?
Repost on Insta.
Repost on Insta.
Take and wake up.
Post on Facebook. Post on LinkedIn.
Yeah, man.
Everywhere.
Tumblr, Reddit, all that stuff.
Everywhere.
And let us know if you've got any topics you want to hear us talk about as well, or any debates or anything that you think that you disagree with us. Feel free to let us know what you think.
Yeah, man. We're always right, but if you guys don't think we're right,
hit us up in it.
Then you're wrong. All right, cool.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's all right. All right, man.